Oi, amores da Medes, tudo bem? Espero bem que sim. Bora lá ao vídeo de hoje.
Killing all 157 people on board. Flight ET302 was en route from Addis Ababa to Nairobi, Kenya, when it went down near the town of Bishoftu at 6 minutes after takeoff. So, as we said, for more on this, we cross live to Ethiopia to find out more from our SABC News correspondent, Coletta Wanjohi. Coletta, a very good morning to you. Can you give us a little bit of an update? What has happened overnight?
Well, good morning to you too. Although in Ethiopia it's not a very good morning, it's another second day of sadness. What has happened overnight is that we've got people coming in throughout the night from different countries. Case in point is Kenya, which lost, where about 32 nationals were lost. Relatives started flying in late at night because they've come to claim for the bodies of their own loved ones, and they want to know what really happened, and they want to know how soon can they take their loved ones back home. And also overnight we've got investigators already at work. I mean, start beginning their work, and we know there has been an investigation team comprising of Ethiopian Airlines, Ethiopian Civil Aviation Authority, and the manufacturer Boeing, who is supposed to be in town already, and they're expected to start already on investigations to understand what really happened. So at the scene, as we're speaking right now, at the scene there are investigators, there are also rescue missions that are trying to bring out as many bodies as they can and putting them, we've seen bodies in body bags and all that. So really a sad moment here, but a second day where people are trying to claim who really, what really happened, and how can they really get their bodies home.
If we have to ask the question, when will these investigations, or at least a preliminary report, be available? Have the Civil Aviation Authority announced when they'll be making some announcement with regard to findings?
Well, that was one of the key questions that we asked the Chief Executive Officer of Ethiopian Airlines yesterday evening when he gave a press conference trying to update the media on what happened. And he said it's very easy, it's really early to call and say when really even a preliminary investigation will be there, because they do not even know the magnitude of the situation. All they know is that there was a crash. They cannot speak right now as to what really caused it, and hence they cannot know how long it will take them to really investigate this issue. So he's asking people to be patient, but patience is not really easy for people who lost their relatives, and even those who did not lose relatives. They're now skeptical because we know Ethiopian Airlines flies over 300 flights, has over 300 flights per day, different directions around the world. So people need to know, people need that confidence. But the CEO is saying he cannot determine when even the first results will come out.
Coletta, has there been any disruption to any other flights after this crash?
Not really. All the flights have continued as scheduled. Ethiopian Airlines has also announced that it will not delay any flights, or will not stop any, because that would also cause panic. They want business to go on as usual as they continue investigating these other ones. So all flights are on schedule throughout the world, and we've seen also other airlines giving support, like Kenya Airways, which is the big competitor for Ethiopian Airlines along this route where it was going Addis Ababa, Nairobi, but saying that they're ready to assist Ethiopian Airlines in case of anything, any need they need. Any needs they have across the Addis Ababa Nairobi route.
Coletta, we obviously look to Ethiopian Airlines as what has now become the biggest airline on the continent. It's an amazing story to tell when you look at Ethiopian Airlines and how well they have done. Obviously, this is going to offer a massive challenge to the airline. It is going to damage reputation, whether we like to believe this or not. As a follow-on from Sakina's question, has there been an announcement from the airline? Have you seen or heard about a lot of cancellations? Because I know obviously people are very, very nervous at this point because so many people travel Ethiopian Airlines. Have they seen cancellations of bookings happening and people sort of becoming a little bit worried now?
Well, I can tell you truly that there is skepticism, especially for people who had already made bookings on Ethiopian Airlines. But the challenge that comes is there are routes where only Ethiopian Airlines goes a much more flexible way. And some people have to console themselves and say, maybe this was just an accident. Maybe it will not happen to me if I'm traveling and all that and all of that. So that's the consolation that passengers are giving themselves, considering that they do not have a very big option on where they're going. So there are routes that Ethiopian Airlines only one that can make connecting flights, for example, easily, or can only access this kind of routes, because other airlines that are flying from Addis Ababa, for example, like Kenya Airways, Qatar Airlines and all that, cannot access some routes, or because it's not probably profitable to them, or for other reasons. So yes, there's some people trying to make cancellations. There are people we have spoken to who've got flights from coming this weekend, and they're scared because they're going to go on Ethiopian Airlines. There are actually people even who are tweeting yesterday, and friends that we know, who started saying that I'm aboard Ethiopian Airlines going somewhere, but I can only pray. So yes, there is skepticism, but in reality, there is nothing much that passengers can do. You still have to take your flight, and maybe take it just with faith.
All right, Coletta, thank you very, very much for talking to us. We'll certainly get another update from you if anything does develop on this particular story. That's our SABC correspondent in Addis Ababa, Coletta Wanjohi. So we'll continue talking to trending topics this morning, but what a story.
It's a massive, massive story. And also, of course, it's too early to be drawing any sorts of comparisons or conclusions. This is why the investigation teams are on the ground. But it has to be noted that it is the same model Boeing that crashed last year off Indonesia, Jakarta, and that flight, that vessel, rather, had been in service for 2.5 months. This one, we understand, had been in service for 4 months. So they were practically new. So many questions being asked. I heard Guy Leach, aviation expert, say yesterday that South Africa just took delivery of one of those last week, was it? Or, you know, so...
I'm going to throw another spanner into the works. I'm reading now, this is the latest announcement coming out from China. China's aviation authority has ordered its domestic airlines to ground every single one of its Boeing 737 MAX airlines. And that is the exact same airline that crashed now, Ethiopia, and the one you were talking about, Indonesia. In Indonesia. So they have now grounded all of these flights. They're not going to be using them until investigations are complete. So, yeah, that's that Boeing 737. We've got to really look seriously at this one.
Absolutely. And we'll keep you up to date.